My name is Stephanie East, and I am with Portland State University. I'm the CANS trainer here. And Angela?
And I'm Angela Leet with Oregon Health Authority. Part of my role is to work on CANS expansion through Oregon.
Now, who do we have in the audience? Live in the room here. Live in the room here with us, we have Melissa, who's in charge of our autistic technical assistant. And Sherry, did you want to?
Sherry Sims from Family Care.
And then who do we have on the phone?
I'm starting to unmute people so you can say unless you have a lot of feedback, then I'm putting you back on mute. So.
Amber Clegg with Deschutes County is on the line.
Hi, Amber.
Chris
Michelle
Barnes,
Medina.
County.
Sorry.
Morning, Tony. It's okay.
Michelle Medina from Klamath Basin Behavioral Health.
Hi, Michelle.
Shannon Brister with Deschutes County.
Hi, Tracy.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so I can
Karen Weiner, IHN.
Yes. Yes. Let them know that.
Yeah. It sounds like we got a room full of people. We can hear you. Good morning.
This is Shannon Brister with Deschutes County.
Hi, Shannon.
Maxine Day from Grant.
Yeah. And so,
Feel free to use the hand raise option, and I can unmute you. There is also the chat box where you can send in questions, and I will ask them for you. And just be aware that we can hear your typing. Please do use your mute button if you can. And I'm going to pass off to Stephanie and Angela. So of these monthly phone calls is to focus on CANS and to have a forum that we can all come together, talk about how things are going out in the field, and so that your feedback helps me at the state level make decisions going forward, and then Stephanie can provide consultation or technical assistance around the tool. So we don't agenda. We really do want to hear from you. We want to answer your questions.
a little bit left over from this one. Okay.
That we're looking at. No.
Oh, unless we have more in the storeroom, I'll have to see. I'm not sure what put this out. I can't adjust with mine.
Got it. Okay. So we would like to start opening it up for your questions, and it's also a place where you can let me know any barriers or concerns that are happening out there. I also love to hear about what's working well. I think that we definitely want to have a main focus on wraparound because in 2016 we are rolling CANS out into wraparound and using it within care plans. But we also know that those of you that are providing CANS for the child welfare requirement also need assistance at times and want to discuss that as well. So we're going to go ahead and probably easier if you type in your question and Melissa can let us know, or raise your hand on the screen and let us know that you want to speak. Mary Tross and Maxine Day, do either of you still have a question?
No, not this time.
Okay.
Nope.
You both
really the forum for that. Like if people have conversations around that, hopefully we can get Tom or Joe from VHS on the next call. And this is really the place to take those concerns and to kind of have those conversations. So if there's anything that anybody wants to address here, I mean, feel free. This is really what these calls are intended for, is to meet your needs as a region, to get things scheduled, to discuss concerns, all that kind of stuff.
Or if anyone can let us know, what do you hope to gain from calling in? Is it information you're looking for, clarification, questions about the tool? There's something that made you all call in today. We want to provide that.
I just thought you would be going over things that, since this is my first time of what's going on with CANS and doing updates.
Okay, great.
And we'll do that. Yeah, well, definitely, we can go ahead and get into that if that's kind of what people want to do. Maybe we'll have some more questions as we start to get into it.
Jamie Hamza has a question. Where do people get certified?
You can get certified. That's a really good question, actually. We've been providing the CANS 101 as a means to kind of support with that process, but to offer training and insight into the tool and how to use it and all of that stuff. But to go online and specifically get Rater certified, there's a website, and it's canstraining.com, and then you log into Oregon, and that's where you can take Rater certification.
And if you need any assistance with that process, I am your contact, and Stephanie's going to zoom into our contact information. Just a moment. Contact information up. So yeah, certification's all done online. There are practice vignettes you can run through before you actually take the test for certification. You have 3 tries to get certified online. That's really stipulated by the PREA Foundation. And you need 70% or better to pass. And
Amber has a question. I'm hoping to stay up to date on any changes with CANS and learn from others if questions come up that I don't think of. Do we need to get recertified annually?
Yes, absolutely. You will need to get recertified annually. I think it's once a year that you have to log on and recertify. That way you're making sure that you're kind of keeping current with the information, keeping current with how to rate and do all those kinds of things. And hopefully by the time that people are recertifying next year, we'll have that new CANS version. That's kind of where that's going. But this is our contact information, and in terms of that, I mean, we're really here to support you and to meet your training needs. And one of the things that we've been doing with 101 is really trying to provide that background and the principles and do it in a little bit more detail than you can get from online.
There's some background noise that makes it very hard to hear you guys.
Okay. Oh, I got it. Okay. I have a couple more questions. One from Karen, another from Mary, and another from Jamie. So Mary's is, has CAN been scheduled for anywhere near Curry County?
So yes, what you'll notice though is that as wraparound gets off the ground more in Curry, then CANS will start to come into play. But it's really a soft requirement for wraparound, and I think in terms of development for wraparound, being Curry County is just a little bit behind. You don't need to feel any pressure to get started on CANS until wraparound's really on the ground. And then I'm sure you have other certified raters in your area that are providing CANS for youth and foster care. But in terms of wraparound, you'll start to see more of that in the coming months.
And this is where we can work with your site leads as well. I can always come down there to support. And really, what I've been trying to do with the trainings is make them site specific to meet the needs of your site. So whatever the needs are, we can do that, and definitely work with your PSU site lead. And for that region, is it Sam or is it John?
John.
For that region, your site lead is going to be John Pavlock. So he would be one that you would contact along with me, and we can kind of assess your needs and where you're at, and then provide that training.
And Mary, I'll give you John's email as well. Michelle Medina has a question. Her question is, when a child is brought into care at birth due to parents' past
History?
history with the DHS, Michelle, do you want to, what is the best way to rate this child in the trauma experience domain?
So you were asking about newborns?
Yes, because I receive newborns CANS referrals, and sometimes, of course, it's because the child tested positive for drugs at birth, but other times it is just because the parent has, maybe the other children in the family have been taken away, and so it's just past history that has caused this child to come into care. And so I'm never really sure what to rate them at with the trauma experience, because they've not gone home with mom, they've not experienced anything that the other children have experienced.
That's where it gets to be a little bit different, because when you're looking at newborns, you're ranking for 0 to 5. So there's two CANS tools. There's a 0 to 5 and a 6 to 20. And I believe the 0 to 5 looks more specifically at like development. It looks more specifically at those types of things like birth weight and exposure to substances and things like that. So if you're using the 0 to 5 tool, basically when you're doing 6 to 20, trauma is as defined by the use. So the use kind of tells you what that trauma is. But in terms of 0 to 5, you're kind of looking at what affects development. So if you have a youth that was born, or a child that was born exposed to substances and those kinds of things, the 0 to 5 tool is going to capture that a bit more. And that's something that we can definitely look at more in detail. But I believe the 0 to 5 definitely captures those things in a different way.
In your experience, though, it sounds like you do have experience with the 0 to 5 tool. And so are you finding it a little confusing to rate those items?
It's just difficult when the child hasn't experienced any trauma, and so I will perhaps just rate them on a 1 for, I don't know, is it appropriate just to rate them 0 all the way down in that domain because they were taken due to past history?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, you can only rate the facts you have and what you know and what's presented. So I could see a possible 1 on that for watchful waiting. But you could probably go either way, 0 or 1.
Yeah, and again, you know, it might not be evident until the child is a little bit older, so it really just depends. But watchful waiting is absolutely appropriate in those types of situations because you had with significant trauma history, so I think it just depends on the situation as well.
Thank you. That helped. Thank you.
Good question. Is there another one, Melissa?
Karen Weiner is next. And her question is, I'm going to unmute Karen. Hello, Karen.
Good morning.
We would like to invite Tom Projan to discuss the challenges that our county mental health programs are having with transitioning from care requirement to RAP fidelity. And additionally, can we have a forum specific to identifying the issues, simultaneous use, so we can work through that?
Yeah. Absolutely, Karen. So do you have Tom's contact information, correct?
Yep.
Okay. If you want to reach out to them, that's great. And if you want to copy me, then I can help, facilitate that and push that along, because I know that it is a need in your communities.
Right. And my thought is that if my communities are having this issue, it's probably occurring across the state. And so if we could just use one of these meetings to have everybody be able to identify what their concerns and issues are, then maybe we can come up with a statewide resolution.
Yeah. Definitely, I agree. And Angela and myself can look at getting someone here from DHS at the next call-in as well in January and make sure that that's something that happens, so that hopefully some of those questions can be addressed. So we can definitely do that. And Karen, while we have you on, I know you sat through the CANS 101 recently, so I kind of wanted to see what your experience was with your team and your region and how people felt about it, if you had any feedback or anything around that.
I thought it was very helpful in terms of really going over the tool and getting people a little bit more comfortable with it. There was a lot of past history hashed out initially, and that's what I'd like to see avoided for you, Stephanie, in the future. So if we can get some of that taken care of it, then I think it's going to allow us to move forward.
Agreed. I think we can all do better making sure that at the beginning of those trainings we're really framing up our focus and goal of that day, because you're right, there's a lot more that everyone can be learning about the tools specifically, and we can hash out all those other concerns in another forum.
I thought people got a little bit more comfortable with the idea of using the tool to discuss the needs. And I think that your comments that you made, that it just is a tool, and really the importance of the family voice and that team framing the needs was huge. So it's not just everything that's in the CANS, that's a 3, is what you're going to focus on in your care plans, but it's using it as a tool to identify what those needs might be so that you could use them and rank them.
Yeah. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate the feedback, and I definitely agree with you. And the stuff around DHS and the raters for DHS, that was something, I don't know if Sydney's on or not, but that was something we encountered a little bit with Mid-Valley as well. And I think it's something that we're going to continue to encounter until we can find a way to kind of address it. And I think the call-ins are probably the more appropriate way to go about doing that, because we have so much representation from around the state calling in. So I really appreciate that feedback, and we'll look at making that happen for the next call-in.
Thank you.
Yeah, Sydney. No, I was just... Does anybody else have anything? If not, we can kind of give you some general updates about what's been going on. All right, I'll turn it over to Angela for some OHA updates.
Okay. So we have a mixed audience, so I'll just make sure that I cover the bases. So January of 2016, the CCO contract will be updated to state that we do expect that the CANs be used within wraparound. And like I said before, that's a soft launch of the CANs within wraparound. There's no one that's going to have any expectation that on January 1st, every county and community is using it in every care plan. That's not what the expectation is. It's that we really start to look at how our RAP programs can utilize this tool within care planning. There are no reporting requirements, again, no auditing, nothing like that. We just are providing technical assistance and training so that we can start to infuse CANs further into our system. And on this slide, you see that it says eCANs. So the next thing I'm working on, and likely timeline in 2017, is that our hope and wish is that we'll be able to work with the Parade Foundation to develop an Oregon version of eCANS, which is a reporting and analytics service that will allow us to capture all of this great information from this tool and allow CCOs, providers, supervisors, care coordinators, all of us to be able to utilize that data as an outcome tool. What that system will allow us to do is to remove the FERS and CPRS system from children's mental health altogether, because eCANS can also collect the demographic level of care information that we need to make sure that Oregon is providing the service continuum that youth and families need. So that's our goal. It's a slow process, unfortunately, because of different approvals that have to happen at the state level and the contracting process, but that is our goal. We want to simplify and move things forward to have one system to track all of that.
And now, the CASI is going away too, right? As of January 1st, that's going to be gone.
Yeah, CASI and EXI are no longer required as of January 2016. It is fine if communities or CCOs, mental health providers, want to continue to utilize those tools. There will still be a domain within CPRS that can collect that information, but that's no longer going to be a domain required to be filled out in order to enter a youth in the CPRS system.
Does anybody have any questions for Angela? Before we move into what PSU's been doing? No? Okay. Moving forward, this is kind of what we have scheduled so far. For those of you who know, we've rolled out the training structure and we've kind of talked about it extensively in the call-in. One of the things that we're really trying to do, again, is make it region specific. So every training is designed around the needs of the specific region. So tomorrow we're doing a joint training with HealthShare, Family Care, and some people from the Tri-Counties that had been kind of selected to go through a different CANS training. That will be myself and Dan. So we're really working to kind of meet the needs of the specific region. So the first trainings that are scheduled are all for CANS 101. Tri-Counties is going to be kind of CANS for supervisors. They're in a little bit different place, so we're going to be focusing on a little bit deeper level of implementation and outcomes and things like that for the Tri-Counties. Newport is having kind of a half-day CANS 101 this week as well. We've already done IHN, but we're trying to make it, again, more accessible for folks. So Mark and myself are traveling out to Newport this Wednesday to support people in Newport with that. One of the things that I'm really excited about is Youth Move and OFSN have come together, and they are supporting us with this process of rolling out the CANS, specifically for the CANS 102. But at this time, Youth Move and OFSN have their own CANS 101 training scheduled. One is actually for this Thursday, and then one is for January 27th. And I believe I saw Shauna on the line as well from OFSN, and she's going to be really supporting us in that curriculum development and that training. Vanessa and Caitlin from Youth Move as well have been involved with this process, but it's something that I'm particularly excited about. For those of you who were in the IHN training, you know that that was one of the things that I talked about, is the importance of family and youth voice and choice. The CANS doesn't supersede that, the importance of clinical brilliance, and I think it's really important going forward to be sure that we're inclusive in the training process as well, that we have the youth voice represented, that we have family voice represented, and going forward, partnering with Youth Move and making sure that they're involved in the development of the trainings and that the youth partners and family partners are certified is a really exciting thing for me. So Shauna, if you're on and you want to say anything, you're welcome to, but I'm just very excited about this going forward and how this is going to impact trainings and things that we're doing on a state level. Other than that,
Shauna said she's super excited as well for the partnership.
And that's great to hear, Shauna, and I'm really looking forward to it. And OFSN and Youth Move both have been very receptive to this, which has been really exciting, because to do something like this in Oregon, particularly in wraparound, it's going to be so critical that everybody is trained and that everybody is involved and invested in this process. one of the things that we've learned from our work in the state of Washington is one of the things that Washington does very well is the CANs. And everybody on their wraparound teams, their family partners, youth partners, and care coordinators are all certified in the CANs. That way they can have meaningful conversations about it. Although ultimately the care coordinator is the one that rates the CANs on wraparound teams, it's beneficial to have youth partners and family partners trained. I mean, this is a conversation that you're going to have amongst your teams. Your CANs items are going to be incorporated in your different wraparound plans, so it's going to be really important going forward that everybody has that training.
Georgina from CPCCO wants to know what the location is for the January 27th training.
The January 27th is also specific to OFSN and Youth Move. Georgina, I think I've been talking to some people in your region in CPCCO, and that's a conversation that we're trying to have around what your needs are specifically for CANs and how we can support. So that's something, too, if you want to stay online after the call-in, you and I can talk. Because, again, we're really trying to make it specific to region. So Mila, at this time, is the site lead for CPCCO. And so Mila and I can work with you to get something scheduled and to make sure that the needs of your region are met and that we're providing the appropriate training. With these trainings, everything has been designed by region. Like I said, so that's kind of, we're not really opening it up to everybody. We're going specifically to your region to work with you and your care coordinators and your wraparound teams to make sure that we're making it meaningful for your area. Every area, just like in wraparound, I mean, everybody has their own individualized set of needs, so that's what we're really trying to accommodate.
Jamie, who is the site lead with CPCCO, just said we are going to have a CPCCO training in February.
For CANs, specifically?
Yeah, we're getting that scheduled. Me and Mila, and I think it's you, Stephanie, as well, on that email we were talking about in February having it scheduled, but I had to talk to all the site leads first because not all of our wraparound care coordinators are certified, so we first want to make sure that everybody's certified and can actually attend, so, and then have a full site, so that's exciting.
Okay, yeah, that was you I was talking to then from CPCCO. I remember this conversation. So, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's something that we want to accommodate you, and we can always do the CANS 101, depending on where your folks are at in terms of rater certification. We can do the CANS 102. In certain regions, in Lane County, for example, they're already using the CANS. All their care coordinators are using it, so the CANS 101 wasn't necessarily something that we looked at for them. So I'll talk with you further, and we can definitely discuss setting a date or whatever your needs are for that region. We can accommodate that.
Okay, great, thank you.
She may have been saying was they were going to get everyone certified online before attending the 101. Do you want to clarify?
And for the CANS 101, you don't need to come rater certified for that one. The goal of that, and this is kind of getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but what we're trying to do with the CANS 101 is really ensure that everybody's rating the same way. And not only that people understand how to use the tool, but they're really understanding kind of the different applications of it and the principles and the philosophy that it's rooted in. So with the CANS 101, it's not necessary to be rater certified at all going into that. The goal of that is by the time you're done with the CANS 101, you'll be able to pass rater certification. And the way that, you know, from what we learned in Mid-Valley, one of the things that we've done is we've broken it up. So we've had folks that have experience with it kind of partnering with those that don't within the training, and they all get together and have these conversations around rating the tool and the CANs, and that's been very meaningful, I think, for the different regions.
Christina Barnes, a question. So to schedule a CANS 101, we need to go through our site leads.
You would go through myself and your PSU site lead. We coordinate that together. Anytime I do a training, the PSU site lead for your region is typically involved. So if you don't know who that is, we can support you with that, although I think most of you are aware of who your PSU site leads are. But my email is also in these webinars that we're doing, and you can contact me as well, and we can get that set up.
Thanks.
Of course, I'm happy to do that. The trainings that are listed on the bottom, Lane County, IHN, and Mid-Valley, those are all CANS 102 trainings. So the folks in IHN and Mid-Valley have already gone through the CANS 101. So that's kind of where they're at in terms of going into CANS 102. There's still a lot of availability to do both CANS 101 and 102. in the upcoming months. My schedule is fairly flexible, and I have a lot of ability to accommodate the different sites, so it's really up to you. I know Yamhill is another one that's been talking to me about doing training a little bit later, so they're looking at doing some training in the summer. So again, it's really up to you and your regions and how you want to roll that out. So of course, contact me, and if you're not sure who your PSU site lead is, we'll loop them into the email and we'll get something scheduled. I really wanted to clarify this particular point. One of the things that we've done with the CANS 101's training, we've had 2 so far, and again, if anybody's on the line that wants to give feedback, we heard a little bit from Karen about feedback around that. Of course, you're welcome to do that. But one of the things that we're trying to do with the CANS 101 is really ensure that people have a deeper understanding of the philosophy of the tool, the principles, how to use it, and to go a lot more in depth on the tool. There's a lot of benefit from being able to sit and have those conversations with your teams, with your supervisors around how to rate. It's really beneficial, I think, to kind of go through the tool and have that understanding. In a lot of states, the way the certification process typically works is you have to go through an initial CANS training before you can even touch online certification. So what we're trying to do in Oregon, we do understand that there are people that are rated. There are people that are doing CANS for DHS. But implementing that into wraparound and having that deeper understanding of the tool is something that is not going to come, I don't think, from just kind of going through the online thing and passing. What we're hoping to do is really kind of make it more meaningful and have something that everybody is able to do. And then we can also do booster sessions or little half sessions for those who've already gone through CANS 101 and want a refresher down the line. There's a lot that we can do with it. But I think we've seen such a wide variety of the way people are rating certain items, the way certain things are done. There's a few things that are a little bit different when you're rating for DHS versus rating for wraparound. So we really want to be sure everybody kind of understands that. So that's something that I'm hoping to accomplish with the CANS 101. And of course, I'm really open to feedback around that and how that's done. And from every training, we've taken the feedback that people have provided and used it going forward to make improvements. So just to clarify that point a little bit, that's really the function of the CANS 101, and we're working really hard to make it meaningful whether you're a rater or not, to take away something different from it, to have a better understanding of the tool and how it's going to be used in Oregon and how it can be used in wraparound. And the CANS 102 is really going to be specific to, okay, we've gone through the CANS 101, we're rater certified, what are the next steps? And this is where Youth Move and OFIS Center are going to come in, and we're going to do best practices for approaching youth and families with the CANS. This is where we're going to look at how do we incorporate CANS into our care plans. This is where we're going to look at all those actionable items. So the CANS 102s that are rolling out in February are going to be very specific to wraparound. They're going to be 2 days, and they're going to be very involved about how to use wraparound in practice. Every PSU site lead has been involved in the development of that curriculum as well. So everybody that you're working with from PSU has been working diligently on that to make sure that it really encompasses those values of wraparound and really gives you something meaningful that you can take away and start to implement in your program.
Yes, one question from Terry Dickens. She said, will there be CANS 101 in Eastern Oregon?
Absolutely. I have yet to be out to Eastern Oregon. That is one of the areas that I am much less familiar with, but that is something that I definitely want to do. I know I've heard from a few folks at Gobi that want to get something like that set up, and I absolutely would like to get that going. I believe John Pavlock is the interim site lead for Eastern Oregon. And of course, feel free to email me. Let me know if there's something going on where you're talking about the CANS or something going on if you want to set up a training. But absolutely, I want to be sure that we do a training out there. I'm happy to come out there and provide that for the region. I think one of the barriers that we sometimes have to these trainings is the fact that I know every site is different and not every site has the ability to travel or has that in their budget. But with the CANS 101s, we're really trying to accommodate that and get out to where the need is. So for example, IHN is a great example of this, is that we did one in Corvallis for those folks, and we're doing another one in Newport. So the travel is not really a barrier for PSU in this particular situation. So we're happy to come out there, accommodate, and make sure that everybody has access to these trainings, because this is ultimately going to be something that everybody has to do. Again, this is just, I threw in the goals of the 101, just really giving participants the opportunity to practice rating together and to make sure that we have more consistency around the ratings and that everybody understands the philosophy of the tool. So I hope that kind of clears it up. And as we get going forward even further, we're going to be rolling out CANS for supervisors and how to use CANS in supervision and those types of things. So we're really going to continue to move forward with these trainings and really accommodate all the different things that the CANS can offer. Again, with these calls, and next month might be a good example of this. Next month we'll work our best to get somebody from DHS to come and participate, but we really want these to be your forum. Anytime you have a question or concern, this is the place to bring it. Care coordinators are welcome to come on. I know some of you do the call-ins in rooms with a bunch of people, so this is really your forum to have questions. We can schedule trainings. If people want to stay on after to schedule a training, we can absolutely do that. There's also coaching that we can schedule if there's a need for that, along with your PSU site lead. Those are things that we can do. So just know that these are your calls, and the whole reason that Angela and I are here is we're representing two different perspectives. Angela's here from OHA to support with those types of questions. I'm here from PSU to support with the training questions. So we're really here to meet your needs and to be here for you, especially as this goes forward and gets closer and closer to ECANS. We want to be that support. And we want to have this be the place where you can call in and kind of talk or discuss concerns or whatever it is that you need. So feel free prior to these, when you get the reminders, if you have something that's on your mind about the CANS, email myself, email Angela, and we'll absolutely make sure that it's something that we go over and it's something that we incorporate in our call-ins. So I hope that kind of helps you all going forward to be able to submit any question that you have or come prepared with anything that you want to talk about, because that is absolutely what we're here for. Angela, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that, or you did a good job explaining it. And again, this is something that we're encountering a lot. We, DHS and CANS, we understand that that's an issue. That's something that we're aware of, and we understand the history in Oregon, and again, that's something we're aware of. So we'll continue to update you around that. Just a reminder for those of you who don't know, in terms of those specific questions, Tom Perojan is also available to answer questions, and you can send Tom an email or tag in myself and Angela as well. And like I said, we'll definitely try to get him involved in the next call. I think having the DHS CANS raters at the training has been a little bit of a challenge, because I think there's so many feelings about it in Oregon, but we're definitely going to try to address that going forward, and it'll be something that we continue to address. So I hope that that helps people going forward, and I hope that's something that we can continue to support. And I really like Karen's suggestion about kind of going forward and addressing this as a state and really having a forum to talk about those concerns. So I hope I explained that well. That's really all I have in terms of updates that are going on around the state at this time. Next month, we'll try to get somebody here from DHS, and as these trainings roll out going forward, I have no doubt that we're going to have more specific questions and things going along around the region. Before we sign off, does anybody have any additional questions or anything that they would like to address?
Again, you can use the raise hand function if you are currently muted, or type it in, or go ahead and ask your questions.
All right, well, if we have no further questions, for those of you wanting training, you're welcome to stay on the line and get that scheduled, or you can email me and tag in Angela or tag in your PSU site lead, and we can definitely get that going for you. So feel free to contact us with questions. I look forward to seeing everybody next month and hope that our calls continue to grow and that we're able to continue to provide good information for you around CANS and what's going on in Oregon. So thank you, everybody, for continuing to support this, and I hope you all have a great day and happy holidays.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Are we on?
No, I was just waiting for questions, and she said if people want to stay on the line, so I'm just making sure.